Well, good morning. I'm upset. Let's talk about it. So, following an 8-9-3 start to the season, including a 5-1 loss against the Columbus Blue Jackets, in which the Bruins allowed 2 shorthanded goals, and among those nine losses in regulation, and I'm pretty sure 3 of them were shutouts. The Bruins have decided to fire their head coach, Jim Montgomery. Hey, was this the correct decision? Was this the wrong decision? It's a little bit of both. Well, let's get down to brass tacks with Montgomery. Montgomery coached 184 games for the Boston Bruins and only lost 41 of those games in regulation. And he had a total coaching record of 120, 41, and 23. A .715 points percentage. Legitimately one of the best 2-year runs for a head coach in NHL history. And yes, I know that the Bruins lost 15 games in overtime last season, and that was definitely an issue. But overall, let's not pretend that Jim Montgomery wasn't a good head coach. He was a player's coach that put the locker room at ease, and that not only put the locker room at ease, but elevated their play in a way that Bruce Cassidy just simply couldn't, because Cassidy is a hard-nosed sumbitch who will squeeze the best out of you, whether you like it or not. And Monty is the one who will who's supposed to allow you to get to your best play. The problem is twofold. First of all, Jim Montgomery completely lost the locker room. After and admittedly, a little of this is to do with the Jeremy Swayman contract extension. Not necessarily the fact that Swayman got extended, but because of the holdout. Because Swayman lost pretty much the entire offseason because Louis Gross is a freaking hack and would not budge from 8.5 no matter what, until Swayman realized I'm going to lose this entire season if I don't sign, which was too late. He lost the respect of a good chunk of his teammates. There is definitely the argument that the Bruins play better in front of Joonas Korpisalo right now instead of in front of Jeremy Swayman, which for what it's worth which is kind of weird because this is the same kind of issue that we ran into a couple years ago with for some reason the Bruins playing a little bit better in front of Linus Ullmark instead of in front of Jeremy Swayman. And although for what it's worth, the past 2 years the Bruins have been completely lights out in front of the Bruins have been completely lights out and no matter who's in net. But Monty lost the locker room. There was a little bit of infighting. There's been a little bit of infighting between players. There's been Monty had been yelling at players on the bench during games. All signs for this start of the season pointed to Jim Montgomery's messaging was completely dead in the locker room. I still don't. Now that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is a much bigger issue, and that is that Jim Montgomery was given a team that completely antithetical to his coaching scheme. Monty's coaching scheme relied heavily on quick and efficient offense, that and maintaining a strong presence in the offensive zone. There's just one problem with this. Yes, the Bruins have pieces. They have players that are fast. They have players that can shoot. They have players that can possess the puck. There's one thing that they don't have. They don't have a person that can do two of those things at the same time when it comes to possessing the puck and speed. Because who is it right now? Oh, it's not Charlie Coyle. Charlie Coyle is a god at puck possession. He's not the fastest, and he doesn't have a killer shot. Pasternak, oh my god, he has a missile of a shot, and he's fast. But the dude is so giveaway prone. Marchand, he's also got good puck possession, but after 3 different surgeries on the wrong side of 35, he is nowhere near as fast as he once was. The linchpin, you're gonna be shocked. It was Jake DeBrusk. I was talking about this. It's about the Columbus game on Monday. This is the entire frustration that I have with this team right now is the constant undermining of Jake DeBrusk. Yes. Now it's sort of an unspoken agreement within the online sections of the Bruins, specifically Bruins Twitter, that DeBrusk wanted out mainly. That a good chunk of why DeBrusk wanted out is because of his stalker Jan, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the last video, but that was definitely a decent reason why she got so attached to him that he and everybody in his family blocked her, and she still tried to get with him. But that's completely beside the point, and nothing has been and nobody is confirmed whether or not that's an actual reason why. It's sort of just like an unspoken. Okay, yeah, this is probably a good reason why. But another good. But we also sort of understand that management just hated him. Management just hated him for no reason. Bruce Cassidy would not give him the time of day, and Bruce Cassidy would not give him the time of day. Management was very much uncommitted to getting a deal done, and even when he showed up and showed out, like in the playoffs this past year, and oh my god, in the start of last season, Jake DeBrusk, let's be real, had the best season of his career in 23-24. You lost the only player that could facilitate an offensive zone entry, that could facilitate a strong offensive zone entry without shitting his pants. And you decided to replace him with Elias Lindholm, who another player that you lost was Matt Grzelcyk. Now, Grzelcyk turned into the scapegoat of this team after Forbort went down with injury. But let's be real, even though he was small, and sometimes he would blow coverages, the dude was like a pit bull off his leash as soon as you put the puck anywhere near him. He was a puck hound, and there's nobody on this defense that is that can really facilitate that sort of speed and puck hounding. And who did you replace him with? Elias Lindholm, who is slow as molasses and is nowhere near the 40-goal Selke finalist that was around 3 years ago, and Nikita Zadorov, who can't skate 5 strides without going to the penalty box. Next, by the way, we've locked them up for a combined $48 million. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we decided to do this. The Bruins are kind of in a state of free fall, and in this and there remains 3 constants in here: Don Sweeney, Cam Neely, Charlie Jacobs. Now Neely and Sweeney, I'm done with. Yes, yes, they've made decent signings. Yes, they've made good trades. But oh my God, this is the 3rd Jack Adams winner that the pair of them have fired. With Claude Julien, yeah, okay, that was kind of fair. And honestly with who was it, with Bruce Cassidy, his time was coming up as well. The entire 3rd period of Game 7 against Carolina in 2022 completely showcased that he was done here. Monty, it was a case of, you got a fantastic coach on the right team, and you would not give him the right team. You would not give him the correct team. So I am done with these 2 clowns. But honestly, your ire should not be with them. Your ire should be with Charlie Jacobs. The Jacobs family is a scourge on Boston. This family has routinely jettisoned any sort of long-term viability of this team for the sake of the bottom line. They don't care if this team continues to be if this team falls down on the toilet, so long as they keep getting money. Even when this season the Bruins finally broke their sellout streak, which went from December of 2009 all the way up until this season. I don't think that these two guys are terrible, and these guys are terrible. And the only and if he had a spine, if Charlie Jacobs had a spine, he would fire everybody. Sell the team, smash his phone on center ice, and then drive his car off the Zachem. That is the only way that I would have respect for Charlie Jacobs. Is to dismantle everything, sell the team, and piss off into the harbor. You can't continue, because it was just a month ago he was continuing to kiss the asses of Tweedledee and Tweedledum. He was still shelling out for Neely and Sweeney. And I know. I've been in the past. I'd praised Sweeney. I think that here's the thing: Don Sweeney, when it comes to making signings, is terrible. He is god awful at signing players. At the trade block, he's amazing. He is incredible. Even with the Linus Ullmark trade, honestly, it sucked that it had to happen. But let's be real. Well, we were completely blinded by the bad play that he had in Ottawa. With just a couple games into his career with Boston, it's pretty evident that goalie Bob has completely turned him around. That's the one member of the coaching staff I'd keep around, by the way, Bob Asenza. Korpisalo has been good. Mark Kastelik has been a very strong performer on their fourth line, and Dean Letourneau. I got a glimpse of him at Dev Camp. He looked solid. He looked really, really good. He looked really good, and going to BC to develop his talent is probably the best place that he could. Is probably one of the best places that he could have gone to. Oh, I mean, realistically, any place in the Beanpot is fine. Probably not Harvard, but any place in Hockey East, you're gonna be good. And going to BC, especially to train, especially to be with another Bruins prospect in Oscar Jelvik, that's pretty damn good. So in terms of trading, Neely and Sweeney are fine. In terms of making signings, I would rather throw myself off the Prudential. Well, but yeah, that's about it in terms of who's to blame for the Bruins start to the season. So where do we go from here? Well, the Bruins interim head coach is longtime assistant head coach Joe Sacco. Sacco has been around for a while. He got named the assistant head coach back in 2014. So he's been around for a solid bit. The problem is he hasn't actually had any sort of head coaching experience in a decade. The last experience that he had was coaching in the early 2010s Colorado Avalanche. They made the playoffs his first year. They missed the playoffs the next three, and then he got canned in 2013. So we don't actually have much experience with Joe Sacco as at the helm. We have glimpses of it. Remember when pretty much the entire team got COVID in 21-22? He was the head coach because Cassidy got COVID through that. The main thing that I remember from it, honestly, is the fact that the Bruins ended up playing the Islanders and they single-handedly, and with only one goal on like 42 or 43 shots, they single-handedly raised Semyon Varlamov's save percentage on the year from 884 to all the way up to 900. It was stupid. But that was like the last head coaching experience that we've seen in Joe Sacco have. That one game where he was missing pretty much every single offensive and defensive playmaker that the team could possibly have at the time. So we're not entirely sure what Joe Sacco's scheme is, and more importantly, how it's going to mesh with with this Bruins core. Currently, this Bruins core, they're not very good at anything. They have forwards that can't make. They have forwards that can't make forward progress. They have defensemen that can't. They have defensemen that can't defend, and they have goalies that can't keep the puck out of the net. You can probably expect the team to get a little bit of a boost with just the whole invigoration of having a new head coach, but don't expect it to be a long term. Do not expect this to be a long term, unless Sacco completely turns everything around, like like what happened in Edmonton in last year, where they fired Jay Woodcroft in the middle of the season, and then Chris Knobloch, and then Chris Knobloch dragged them from losing 14 of 16 or something like that, all the way to the longest winning streak of in NHL history with like 16 or 17 games and a Stanley Cup Finals appearance where they almost reverse swept the Florida Panthers. Which would have been really cool, but at the same time, but let's hamper our expectations. Let's hamper our expectations a little bit. This team is not the Edmonton Oilers. We do not have Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. We currently have David Pastrnak, who cannot find the back of the net to save his life right now. We have Brad Marchand, who is 36 years old, coming off of 3 different surgeries. We have Charlie McAvoy, who cannot stop taking penalties, and we have Jeremy Swayman, who can't stop a puck right now. Well, and the frustrating part of it right now is the fact that, going back to the Jake DeBrusk conversation, there is a player that the Bruins have that could definitely make it so that they have someone with speed and puck possession. But for some unjustifiable reason, Neely and Sweeney just completely refused to call up Fabian Lysell. This is a dude that scored 50 points in the AHL last year in just over 55 games. You have one of the best prospects that you've had since Pastrnak waiting in your wings. The fact that Wyatt Johnston was selected two picks afterwards and already has a 30-goal season under his belt in the NHL is kind of ridiculous, considering that Fabian Lysell is probably NHL ready. I don't care what I love Dominic Tiano. I don't care what he thinks about nitpicking every single one of. I don't care what he thinks about nitpicking every single play that Lysell has. Yes, he's a scout, and I understand that, and I have an infinite amount of respect for him. But at the same time, you have nothing to lose with calling up Lysell. But if there's another thing that Neely and Sweeney love more than firing Jack Adams winning head coaches, it is completely abandoning their youth. Call them the absentee parents of the Boston Bruins. So that's where we stand right now. Sacco's the head coach. The Bruins are in disrepair, and they need a new voice in the locker room. The problem is this is the same voice that they've heard in the locker room for the past 10 years. It's just in an increased role. So who knows if this is actually going to work. People have thrown out names for who should actually be in the Bruins head coach, and I swear to God, if people actually want Joel Quenneville for head coach, I want an actual registry of people who want Joel Quenneville as the Bruins head coach, so I can slap all of you. If the Bruins get Joel Quenneville as their head coach, there should be as much anger in this fan base as when the Bruins signed in Mitchell Miller. I'm not kidding. You can't have someone with as much baggage as Quenneville on behind the bench. If you want my honest opinion, try to get Marco Sturm. He is legitimately a really good coaching prospect. I would love to see him in the Spoke B. And that's about where we are now. Cool. So I will see you guys. I might see you guys later tonight for a very important and emotional video, but I will see you guys again for hockey tomorrow. Here's hoping for a better outcome. Take care, guys.